My mother died without telling me why she disowned me for marrying my husband. Yesterday, I found a hidden letter that explained everything. The last time I spoke to my mother was at my wedding reception 7 years ago. She pulled me aside, her face tight with an emotion I couldn't read, and pressed a small box into my hands. "This was your grandmother's," she said. "It should be yours now." Inside was a delicate pearl bracelet I'd admired since childhood. Before I could thank her, she added, "I hope you understand what you were doing," and walked away. The next day, she changed her phone number. My emails bounced back. The Christmas card I sent came back marked "Return to sender." For 7 years, I tried to understand what happened. My husband James is kind, hardworking, educated, everything a mother should want for her daughter. My father had passed away years earlier, so there was no one to explain my mother's sudden rejection. My extended family either didn't know or wouldn't say. When the call came that my mother had died suddenly of a stroke, I felt grief tangled with the anger that I might never understand why she cut me out of her life during what turned out to be her final years. Cleaning out her house was like archaeology, excavating through layers of a life I'd been excluded from. New furniture I'd never sat on, photos of trips. I didn't know she'd taken a whole bookshelf of novels by authors I'd recommended before the estrangement, as if she'd been having silent conversations with me through literature. In her bedroom closet, I found a locked wooden box. The key was taped to the bottom, which seemed strange. Peter, why lock something if you are keeping the key with it? Inside were documents, her will, which surprisingly left everything to me, her birth certificate, and beneath those, a sealed envelope with my name written in her precise handwriting. My hands shook as I opened it. "My dearest Alexandria," it began, "if you are reading this, I am gone, and I owe you an explanation for the greatest regret of my life. Hurt in losing you," she went on to explain that 3 days before my wedding, she had received an anonymous letter with photos of James with another woman dated just weeks before our wedding. The letter claimed he was having an affair and marrying me for access to the modest inheritance my father had left me. "I was devastated for you," she wrote. "I confronted James privately the night before your rehearsal dinner. He denied everything, of course. I gave him an ultimatum, Perton, call off the wedding, or I would show you the photos myself." My heart pounded as I read on. He told me to go ahead, that the woman was his half-sister who had been in rehab, and the photos were from the day he picked her up to bring her to a sober living facility. He said you knew all about his sister's struggles, but they kept it private from most people to protect her privacy. James did have a half-sister with addiction issues. I'd met her only twice in the early days of our relationship before she relapsed and went back to treatment later. She moved across the country for a fresh start. We exchanged Christmas cards but respected her desire for privacy about her past. I didn't believe him, my mother's letter continued. "I was certain he was lying. I decided to stay silent at your wedding, thinking you would discover the truth on your own. When months passed and you seemed happy, my pride wouldn't let me admit I might have been wrong. Then years went by and the distance became an uncrossable canyon. 6 months ago, I ran into James's sister at a conference in Denver. She's been sober for 6 years now. She recognized me immediately and thanked me for raising such a wonderful daughter who had supported her brother through her darkest times. That's when I knew I had made a terrible mistake based on a cruel anonymous letter, likely from someone from your past who was jealous of your happiness. I've been trying to find the courage to reach out ever since." The letter was dated 3 weeks before her death. When I got home that night, I showed James the letter. He sat quietly as I explained, then pulled out his phone and showed me something I'd never seen. Dozens of unsent text messages to my mother over the years, wishing her happy birthday, sharing news of our lives, always ending with "we miss you" and "the door is always open." "I never sent them," he said softly. "I was afraid it would hurt you more if she continued to ignore us." Yesterday, we scattered my mother's ashes in the garden she loved. Among her plants, I found a newly installed stone bench with a small plaque, "For Alexandra and James Parnt, may you rest here together someday." Some misunderstandings can never be fully resolved. Some forgiveness comes too late. But in that garden, surrounded by the flowers my mother tended while missing me, I found a measure of peace in knowing she died trying to find her way back to us. If you've ever discovered a truth that changed how you understood your family history, share this video and comment hidden stories.